actually, organize this IELTS MasterClass, like you all know. But basically, due to the busy schedule last year, we were not able to organize that. So apologies for some of us who were expecting this class last year. And then Miss Timmy Ruth, don't know her, but she just met me on Facebook and she wanted to organize the IELTS MasterClass for some of you guys in Port Harcourt, I guess so. According to her, she said over 100 people registered. So I guess that a couple of people would still get to join the session. Definitely, I know for sure that Nigeria is faced with some data constraint, which means that some places might not really have as good network to be able to stream this online. And someone says she can't hear me. Alabi Victoria. So let me do a microphone testing. Can anybody hear me? You can unmute your phones, and I want to be sure. Someone just said she can't hear me, so I want to be sure. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Thank you. So basically, yeah. So let me do a bit of recap. Like I said, my name is Oscar, and I work with EduPoint. So basically, what we do at EduPoint is that we connect tutors to learners. And so my apology was that last year I was supposed to organize this masterclass, which was powered and hosted by Mrs. Simi Ruth, I guess so. Yeah. So, but fortunately, due to tight schedules, we weren't able to hold the meeting, and definitely I had to reach out to her and said, okay, I think this would be a good time because travels were restricted, which was a major reason why I couldn't organize the training last year. I did a lot of travels for my business last year. And so this year, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, most classes, most businesses have totally gone to the cloud, which means that they are not done online, like we're having one today. So that is one section of service that we offer. We also offer live sessions like this. And I felt that there is a genuine need for people to know more about the IELTS. Thousands of people write IELTS every year. And the challenge is that most people don't pass, not because they're not smart, not because they're not good, but because there are some certain, I call them tricks and smart approaches that basically most people don't know or is not open up to them. And so by that reason, they sort of write it over and over again and they get frustrated. So my job today is to take you through the journey of what IELTS is. Now, I know some of us here have written IELTS before. I know some of us want to write it. I know some of us have heard about it before. I also know that some of us must have in one way seen it before. What I do in my class is that I often tell people that whether you've done it before or not, you assume today that you've not done it before or you've not heard it before, so that you're going to put your total mind concentration to it. So some of them must have done it before. I know some of them must have written like twice or thrice. Some of us even know all the tricks involved in IELTS. Some of us even know what and what to do in IELTS. So basically, this session is not for people that know what to do. This session is for people that are trying to add to their knowledge, or basically are trying to understand what it is to write the IELTS exam. Okay, so that's a bit of introduction. So basically, I'll just go straight into my slide. I think, can you guys see my screen? I think I've shared my slide. Okay. So, so again, let me just create a bit of caveat here. So some of us wouldn't get, you won't be disappointed at the end of the class. So today's class is basically not to teach you IELTS. Somebody, the background noise is making a sound. So I said I tried to mute everybody so that other people can hear. If everybody is talking, nobody can hear each other. So I've muted all the phones again. Please, when you come into the session, try to mute your phones. Or when you're listening to the session, try to mute your phones. You can only unmute your phones when you want to ask a question. We are operating on an open policy classroom method where you have a chance to ask any question you want to ask. But we have to do it in a systematic way so that we don't get to disturb other people also who are trying to listen. And again, this program is recorded. So for the benefit of it being recorded, it would be nice that we have a smooth and seamless learning process. Okay, so basically, let me also clear with a caveat before I continue. Now, this particular masterclass is not to teach you about IELTS. You can't learn IELTS in a day. The goal and the objective of this masterclass is to transit you, is to deploy you, is sort of to bring you through the journey of what IELTS is. For some of us who don't know, for some of us who know, is to also add knowledge to what we've known before. So basically, IELTS basically takes at least 4 weeks to 8 weeks of preparation. I mean, deep preparation before you can confidently say you want to write it. So I just want to say this, that after my class today, don't quickly go and write IELTS tomorrow and say, okay, I think I'm done. It's time to write IELTS now. No, it's just sort of to just propel you. For some of us who are frustrated because we're writing the exam over and over again, this is sort of to motivate you. For some of us who have not heard about it before, this is sort of to enlighten you. For some of us who have heard about it before but don't know what it is, this is sort of just to add knowledge to what you would have seen on the internet. IELTS have 4 sessions, right? Basically, a listening session, the reading session, the speaking session, and the writing session. Some of us might be wondering, what is IELTS? Like you all know, it's an international English language testing system. That's the full meaning of IELTS. So it's sort of designed in such a way to be able to assess the proficiency of someone who claims that he has been taught using the English language. So it was designed by the British curriculum, by the British Council. And they sort of felt that even though some people are non-native speakers, it would be right that they go through a standardized test. So IELTS is not a professional exam. I want to clear that. Some of you always say IELTS is professional. No, it's not a professional exam. IELTS is a standardized test. Standardized tests are tests that you write to prepare you or to transit you to another journey of your professional career or your education, your academic career, right? So that's why we have to kind of IELTS. Okay, we have the general and we have the academic. We'll get to know more about this. Okay. Normally in my class, if it was a physical class, I would love to ask, who are you? But this is an online class, so basically, I definitely know all of you by your names. I can see you on Zoom. Now, what you need to know about IELTS, I'm going to run through some information that you need to know. Don't worry, I'll send my slides to you, so don't bother copying. All I want to do is to listen very well so that you'll be able to ask pertinent questions. I love questions. I love interactive class. So once in a while, I will have to pause and then listen to your question and then try to answer it. If I can't answer it, definitely someone will also answer it. So we're all learning. Yeah, we're all learning. Now, like I told you before, IELTS is an international English language system. It is designed to assess the language ability of the candidate. Now, who needs to study or want to work where English is used as a language of communication? It is required also it's required also for an entry into university. Like you all know, most especially in UK and other countries. Now you might be asking, who is it for? Now, it's basically for you and I. Why did I say so? So basically for myself, if I want to study my PhD tomorrow, definitely I will need to write IELTS. Maybe I want to study my PhD in another country, let's say Canada, let's say University of Waterloo, let's say Ontario University, let's say University of Washington. So these particular countries that have these particular schools needed me to have an IELTS score or IELTS band score. Now that IELTS band score sort of showed to them as a proof that I have a proficiency, in English language. Now, some of you might be asking me again, but they taught you for over 18 years in English. I mean, your primary school you did English, your secondary school you did English, your nursery school you taught English. Even before you wrote JAM, you taught English. Even in your undergraduate program, you taught with English. Even in your master's, if you do it in Nigeria, you taught in English. So how come you want to travel abroad now to work? or how come you want to travel abroad now to study, and they're asking you for IELTS band score. Now, like I told you before, there's a difference between reading English, writing in English, speaking in English, listening in English. And also, there's also a difference between being taught with English language and being able to communicate fluently and coherently in English language. There's also a difference between what I call a native speaker and a non-native speaker. Okay, so the standardized tests sort of bring what I always call it a level of equality, or what people will call the greater equilibrium. You know, the COVID-19 pandemic, if you observe, it affected everybody, whether you are rich, whether you are poor, whether if you are rich, you become a bit rich, if you are poor, you become poorer, if you are. So sort of was a great equalizer for everybody, that even those who travel a lot had to stop traveling. Even those who, used to go to the office for a meeting had to stay at home. So that is what the IELTS stands for. So no matter who you are, whether you're a celebrity, whether you are a professor, whether you are a president, whether you are a nationalist, whatever you are, if you need to have to go to abroad to study, especially in English-speaking countries like UK, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Ireland, USA, it is recognized that you must take an IELTS language proficiency program. Okay. Also, note that more than 20 million people take this test a year. So you should know that it is on high demand. In fact, in Nigeria alone, thousands of people write it almost every month, right? You must have known who have written it last month, last 2 months, last year. But because of the COVID-19, for a while now, they have been on hold for the program due to the whole movement of the thing. But what we are thinking now is that there might be online class from home. We don't know yet. That's speculations. We're also hearing that now they might not place more priority on online classes. We don't know yet. Though online tests, though there have been an online test before called the IBT. So it depends. Some of you might be wondering again, what is IDP? What is I? They are both the same. They are both designed and prepared by the Cambridge exam, which is part of the British Council, right? So don't get confused. People always think that IDP is easier than IELTS, or IELTS is easier than IDP. They are both the same. They are both the same language testing system. Okay, what is IELTS like? Like I said, IELTS is divided into 4 sections, right? Now we have academic, we have general, right? Now, these are different versions of the test. Please, if I'm too fast, I'm very sorry. I'm trying to be sure that I covered all my 40-something slides. It's going to be a 3-hour class. So I want to be sure that I cover as much as I can cover because it's just for today. So I will try my possible best to cover as much as I can cover so that we can have enough questions and enough assignment to do. Now, the listening section is one of those test sections. It is always divided into 4 sections. We're going to see an example of all of them. Now, those 4 sections, each of them has 10 questions, and that a total of 40 questions. You do them for 30 minutes. The speaking is like an interview. The speaking session is an interview. Most times, the speaking is not done at once, the same day others were done, right? Speaking is usually done on a different day, right? The reading, and it lasts for 15 minutes, okay? And the reading is different from academic or general. I said earlier, I said the IELTS has 2 different versions. We have the academic, we have the general. When you hear the word academic, you should know that it is meant for academic programs. So for some of us who want to study, in Canada, in UK, you will not be required to write a general training exam. It will be wrong because you can't use it. You're required to write the academic version of the IELTS. Now, this is different from general. The listening and speaking is the same, but the reading and writing are different. And I will tell you why in the course of the journey. Like I told you before, it's a journey. So you have to follow me from start to finish, okay? The third is the reading. The reading is different from academic and general. The reading differs in terms of academic and general. It's divided into 3 sections, right? And then it has 40 questions. The total number of time given to you for the reading is 60 minutes. Okay. And for writing, it is also different from academic and general. Now, there are two pieces of writing also. There's going to be one that will tell you to write a letter, another one that will tell you to write on an essay, on an argument, expository, narrative, whichever the case might be. And the other one for academic, for general, could be telling you to write a statement on you're supporting on something or the other. Are you against or for? What is your assumption? What is your advice? Or it could be asking you to write a letter applying for a job or a promotion. Or it looks, the framework always look like someone that is looking for a job in abroad. The same way academic look like someone that is looking for, a master's program or a postgraduate program in abroad. So these are two different sections, right? And they only differ by the reading and the writing. Note that your listening and speaking and reading and writing are usually graded independently. So you wouldn't say because you didn't do well in listening, you will not do well in writing. And so no, they have their different band, they have a different score. So, but they have a 9-band score. So you cannot have 0 except you did not come for the test. Okay, you can only have between 1 to 9. 9 is the highest, right? Now, some of you might be wondering again, what are the levels and scores? Okay, I'm going to explain this to you. There's something we call multi-level. You can get a score between 1 and 9. Half scores, such as 6.5, are possible because sometimes your score can go into half. But universities often demand that IELTS score must be between 6 or 7. I hope you're listening, okay? Some of these things are not in my slide. So these are just coming from my head. So I'm trying to ensure that you guys are paying full attention. They may also demand a minimum score in each of the 4 sections. I'm going to explain this. Now, it could mean that there are some places, there are sometimes you want to work. I've seen someone that wanted to work in Australia. She was my student before another person. Now, the company that she wants to work for, according to her, they required a certain minimum score in each of the 4 sections, not average band score. I want you to list it. There's a difference between average band score and minimum score in each section. Now, if a company says you must not score below 7 before they hire you, even though you get 9, 9, 9, and 5 in one of the scores, even though your average, your cumulative average, some of you that did maths, your cumulative average is above 7 because you have 9, 9, 7, and 5. Because there is a stipulation that you must not have a minimum score less than 7. You have failed that test for that company. That's why you must be very, 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 very meticulous when you're doing your IELTS. IELTS is not something you just do English language. It's a proficiency test. It's not something you just do because you want to do it. If not, you will do it like 10 times because they do it every month. So it's not like JAMB or WAEC that you guys know that they do once or twice a year. That if you fail this year, you wait till next year. No, IELTS is so easy that one person can be writing IELTS almost every month and be feeling, because why? The person is not paying attention to the minimum score he has been asked to check out for. So they're not looking at average band score. They're looking at your minimum score in each of the 4 sections. University will tell you 6 or 7. Some universities, like in US, will only say 6. In fact, some business school will tell you 5. Yeah, some business school will tell you 5. In fact, Lagos Business School in Nigeria will tell you 5 or 5.5. If you check their admission criteria, they'll tell you 5.5 because they know that, okay, you're in Nigeria, you taught in English. I mean, communication is in English, and based on the location where the school university is, because universities even in Nigeria demand your IELTS score. I mean, top-notch universities like Lagos Business School or some top private universities, before they are going to accept you for their business program, they demand that you have an IELTS score. Aside that, again, there are some companies too in Nigeria, it will shock you, that demands that, especially when those companies is a British company based in Nigeria, they also demand that you have an IELTS. They want to be sure that you can communicate. Do you know why? Certain times they might deploy you outside the country. for some form of, job rotationing. You want to go out, maybe for example, I used to work at Unilever those days, and I know that most of the time, some of my colleagues, there's something we call rotational program for graduates. So if you're done, they used to tell you, okay, travel here, travel here, travel here to gain that experience. So some of your colleagues might be in South Africa today, after 2 months might be in India, and then might be in Australia. So you need to have at least a how would I call it now? Like an average view of communicating to the next person. And so to say, they require that you have that IELTS, proficiency test result. Where do I take the IELTS test? IELTS is administered at accredited test centers in the world. Lagos, in fact, almost in all the states, just to go online, britishcouncil.com, you will see more information about that. Okay, I think at this point in time, I don't know if I'm talking much, but I will try to pause and ask for any question before I continue. I always want to be sure that I'm not feeding in too much, than I'm also more than what I should do. So do you have any question before I go further? We are still at what you need to know. So we've not gone far yet. If you just joined us, you've not missed anything. We are still at the third slide, okay? And the Zoom meeting is recorded, so if you need to listen to it next time, we will definitely share the recording to you as permitted by the host, which is Tiniper Roots. Credit to her; she's the one that's organizing this. So yeah, good work to her. Now, what you need to know about IELTS General. Now, if you want to migrate to Canada, some of us now, I know if. Okay. Anybody have question? I was looking for the question. Anybody have question to ask so far? Or any observation? Am I too fast? Am I too slow? Or what challenge do you have? Can you hear me? Can you hear me before I continue? If there's no challenge, we can mute our phones. Okay, so what you need to know about your IELTS or the IELTS you need to write, IELTS General. The general training is for candidates that want to migrate to Canada. For example, some of us, we have our friends and family over there who in one way must have secured one or two jobs for us, or told us just come over and we'll connect you to a job, right? But one of the requirements they're asking is that you must have an IELTS, score, band score. And so for you that want to go and work abroad, you want to engage in one or two profession or the other, you can't write academic and use it to represent general. That would be a wrong approach. To be a square peg in a round hole. If also know that 20% of the test takers are usually on general, most people always prefer to go through the academic route. I'm going to explain this, but these are for visa consulting people, So, so they will tell you that the easiest way to come to abroad is to go and study abroad, so I can easily get a permanent residency. That is how most people usually go to abroad and then colonize where they're staying abroad. So they'll tell you, get a master's first or get an undergraduate program, get a scholarship. When you start working, you can now start, applying for social security number. From there, you can now start working. If you become like a very, very, very key person in those workplaces, they can grant you permits before you know you now become a permanent resident. That means you can go in and come back anytime you want to come without anybody trying to harass you, right? That's why most people go through the academic route, because it's always the easiest way for them to actually start their career. It's difficult to actually go through the general route, because before you get a job abroad, you must have gotten that job because it will be part of what you use in paying for your visa, right? They must have issued you a letter of employment, blah, blah, blah. And most times it's usually when a company is transferring you, but it's easier going through the academic route. But this is not IELTS, this is just like visa consulting tips, so you need to know. That's why you have most people who are always going to abroad to study. Now, frequently asked questions, some of you might want to ask me, is written actually twice a month now, or once a month. For general, it's once a month. There is no limit on number of times you write a test, but that does not mean that you should be a customer to IELTS exam. Okay, so I always tell people this, because you are, there's some exams you can write more than twice a month or twice a year. Most of those exams, they don't allow you to write them every month. In fact, the level you write the exam will tell you to stop. For IELTS, there's no limit, and I think that's a challenge because they've made it no limits to the times you're writing. They've tend to increase the bar of marking, and that's why most people always fail. And one of the challenges, because I listen to people write IELTS exam and I feel for them. One of the challenges that they face is that they realize that sometimes they write a particular exam, maybe in month 1, they got almost all the minimum marks, 7, 7, 8, 8, and maybe just one of the session, maybe speaking session, they got 5. They now write the exam again the next month, thinking that, okay, they can write the exam and pass. They will focus their energy reading speaking. And when they write the exam again, they find that speaking is now 9. The rest is now 7, 7, 2, or 5. And IELTS doesn't combine results like WAEC or NECO. If possible, even JAM these days, they will tell you, if you have written JAM, you score this, you should buy another kind of form to do this, to do that. IELTS is not like that. It's either you pass a minimum score or you write the exam again. And so the challenge of spending 75K every month, which is standardized fee, depending on the dollar change. I don't know how much it is now, the dollar inflation, but it changes with the dollar because you pay in dollar. It changes with the dollar cost, right? So also the pound cost. So the challenge is, at the end of the day, people write this exam almost every month looking for just a paper or a session or a version, right? And that's the challenge. So, which is why I always tell people that in Edu Point, basically what we do, we don't advise people to write, people who are under our tutelage. We don't advise them to write the test if they are not ready. We will teach you, we will train you, and we will mark you like IELTS examiner. And we will tell you that you would not be allowed to write. Yeah, if you go out of your way to write the test and you fail, there's already a caveat that we told you that you're not ready, because we will do a series of tests after training you. So basically, we have a 2-month class. We use the first month to train you, and then we use the second month to do proper tests. So your first 1 month will be going through IELTS general, trying to know what and what, trying to understand, go through the law of concord. Some of those things those English that you did in secondary school those days, we're looking at the advanced format of it. We will not do anything like assessment. We will do assessment in the next month. We're going to do a build-up. We don't call it build-up exercises. Give a lot of questions, a lot of assignment, a lot of mock. Now, tell me if you practice a lot of mock and assessment, at least there will be capability build-up, right? So when we now start seeing your scores over time and it's advisable for you to write, we can say, okay, you can now write the IELTS exam, believing that worst come to worst, you cannot fall below the minimum. You might not get a maximum of 9, but you can't fall below your minimum if on a condition, because I always say this, to protect my integrity and integrity of the business. Integrity is very key. You can write IELTS exam even if you are being taught by the best teacher in the world or the best tutor in the world. If you don't practice yourself, please, I want us to write that down. You can't pass IELTS if you personally didn't have time to study. IELTS is 70% personal study and 30% guidance. So that's why some people tell you that on my own, I pass IELTS, because they ensure that the 70% was well maximized. 70% you already pass mark, 7/10, right? But not everybody have that kind of brain. Not everybody have that kind of time. Some of you are working, some of you are working 9 to 5. I don't know, for now there's COVID-19 pandemic, the work must have changed, but some of you are in one way or the other engaged one or two things. So some of you are even mothers, you look after kids. Some of you have 1 or 2 responsibilities, especially for the women. You have 1 or 2 responsibilities that you're doing that is not giving you time to read. That is when you now need a guidance and from from a tutor or from someone that can teach you, looking at your, your capability and ability. The person will therefore assess you and say, okay, you know what? Okay, I think we can now take this class. But if you know that you don't have such kind of brain, photographic brain, you don't have such kind of time to read and understand, sincerely tell yourself the truth, and you know that you're not reading, but you want to write this text, please advise you hire someone. Might not be me, might be someone else. Thank God for online classes. You could stream online, you could learn on YouTube. There are many ways to learn. So, but even when you hire the person for the 30%, the 70% still needs to be fulfilled by you. And this is the simple truth. That's why it pains me when I see advert of people who do IELTS class and they tell you, come and learn IELTS in 1 week. I already know that is fraud. That's a scam. Don't pay for that. This is not university where university those days in school, they call it exam night or revelation night. For students who don't read, they'll tell you that between 6 p.m. in the evening to 5 p.m. in the morning, we're going to do overnight class to teach you all the things that your lecturer have taught you. And people will be paying. I remember those days in school. Those seniors were making money from those things. They know that students were not reading. So they will wait for 2 days or 3 weeks to exam. And they organize what we call revelation. I don't know if they did it in your school, but they did it in my school a lot. They call it revelation night, And then you see 1 or 2 people who must have been reading for a long time. And then will now stand in front of the class and be teaching hundreds of people. Where were they? They were not studying, but they want to pass, and they have exam in 2 days' time. Now, those people felt that once they teach them that moment, it sticks to their brain. Once they write exam, it's done. And those are the people that when they're out of school, they can't do anything. They can't teach. They can't even explain what they have been taught. Because why? They just wanted to read and pass. But IELTS cannot work that way. You can't do revision night for somebody within a week because it takes a lot of practice. Even your tutor needs to practice. So you practice together, a lot of practice from you because there are certain questions that when you see, if you don't practice, you can't be able to interpret them. Especially when it comes to reading. We're going to do some of them and you will see them. Example again is listening session. From today, because IELTS is a British exam, the accent for your listening session is always in British. So I advise people to start listening to BBC. And if you love to watch movie, look for British films or British series because you need to start getting into the accent. You're not a native speaker. You're a non-native speaker. So when I pronounce the word Matthew, if you're not good with hearing or listening, odds are high that you might not know what I'm saying. And you will need it in your listening session. You will see. You guys would see a session and you understand. And some of you must have gone through this before. You notice that sometimes you don't even hear what they are saying. You're confused. It's as if probably somebody is just speaking something else. But the truth is that somebody is speaking. And funny enough, somebody knows or can interpret what the person just spoke. So it means that you have to develop your hearing skills or your listening skills. Again, when it comes to speaking, this is not saying you should start forming British accents. Be your original self. But you need to start knowing how to compose words, not only in writing, which you will know in writing, because you're going to do writing, but also how you can speak to people. Because in your speaking test, it is like interview, 15 minutes, and you'll be asked a prompt, and you'll be asked to answer based on the prompt. For some of us that don't know how to conjugate words, munch words, be able to speak, start watching interviews. Because your speaking session is an interview session. You see now that your attitude will change. If you are really preparing for IELTS, your attitude will change. Your capability will be formed based on your attitudinal change. The style you're listening, the style you're talking, the style you're writing, everything will change because you are building that up for your IELTS exam. Note this, there are 9 band scores, but the listening and reading section are marked objectively. Now, I'm going to explain this. You know what I said earlier, that the general and the academic are different in reading and writing. but in listening and speaking, they are the same. Okay, good. But again, sometimes, or most of, or all the time, the listening and reading section are marked objectively. They have options. That means they have specific answers in the options. You can't go beyond it because that is what is in the objective. That is what you're listening to. Your listening session is what you listen to, you write. You don't write what you think. I don't know if I'm making sense here. Your reading session is what you read, because reading session is about how you read and comprehend. It's what you read that you put down in your answer sheet, not what you know. But in your writing, it is marked subjectively. Why? Because you'll be given a question and a prompt, and the examiner is asking for your opinion. So this is what the examiner is doing. The examiner would not use a particular marking scheme to mark you. The examiner already has his own marking scheme. What the examiner is interested in is how you are able to munch your words, how you are able to place your words, to use your words, how you are able to make meaning from your sentences, and how you are able to conclude from the point you've made. Again, he looks at typographical errors. So there are so many things he's looking at to judge you. And that is why most people think that writing is the most difficult part of the IELTS session, but that is not. So we move to the endpoint philosophy. We have a philosophy, which is 2 key goals. The first goal is that if we by chance have to hire, if by chance you hire us to take you on a class, our first goal is to help each test taker achieve the highest possible band score. So the first thing we'll ask you is, are you general? Are you writing for general or writing for academic? If you tell us general, fine. Tell us academic, fine. Then we'll not tell you, okay, if you're writing general, this is the minimum you're supposed to score. Like you all know, for university programs, the minimum are usually 7. Most cases, 5, 5.5. Yes, some schools. Just like most of us, we like looking for the top schools. You know, Imperial College, those schools won't collect 5.5 because, you know, so this is what I tell people. Part of why they are standardized school, part of why they are top rating school is because they have students that apply to them. And let me tell you, let me just deviate a bit and tell you the reality of life. You know, when we were in school those days, we used to think that those who study medicine are the smartest. No. Or those who study law are the smartest. No. Let me give you the analysis why you think they are the smartest. Because those courses are usually highly demanded for by students, because that is the only thing that they know when they are done with school. I want to study medicine, I want to study law, I want to study engineering. Now, imagine 12,000 people writing a particular exam for a course in a school. I don't mean just University of Benin, Uniport. I mean different schools. Like the list is 12,000 on a particular course. So, and this is a well-regulated course where NUC does not allow, or MDCN does not allow more than 100 students in a class for some federal schools and even 50 for some state schools. So imagine 12,000 people writing one exam. It is not a case of the smartest people are there. It's a case of survival of the fittest. So because it is a sought-after program, the cutoff mark will have to go high because a lot of people are writing that exam. That is what happens to the foreign school, which you are going to come in visa consulting and the rest. That's not my field, okay? But the reason why most people get denied of visa or your admission a lot is because you apply to a top-rated school. I'm not saying don't go to a top-rated school, but these are schools that they even tell you that if you don't have a 8.0 band score, don't apply to us. It's not as if they cannot collect 7 or 5. The challenge is that there are too many people that is sorting after them. So the only way they can reduce the pressure on picking too many people at the same time is to increase the standard. That's the one reason why most people are not always admitted in their choice of institution or their course. If I bring a new course today and I said the course is the course is, let me just use a particular keyword. Let me just say footballogy. Apology for the error, but let me go footballogy. And footballogy People see that you can make money. Don't forget why people go to those courses. They want to get a job, they want to make money, they want to be self-sufficient, they want to have enough money in their account and everything. They want to be comfortable and secured. And I say footballogy is the new hot course now. Just the way ICT is the new hot course now. You will see that the number of people that will apply for footballogy will even be more than those applying for medicine. So what do you think footballogy will do? They have to they have to increase their standard. So you'll not be thinking maybe they are tough to enter. No, it is the demand, the increase in demand that affected the what? The less of supply. Okay, so that's why what we do from the beginning is that we will help you to achieve your highest possible band. Maybe for you, if you tell us the school you want to go to or what you want to study, okay, your minimum score is 5.5 or 6.0. So this is what you need to do. Also, we would adequately prepare each test taker for their life after IELTS exam. So some of you that felt that life is beyond IELTS, you want also guidance and mentorship in your career, maybe academic or otherwise. We have people that can also help guide in those processes. How do we achieve this? We understand everybody have weaknesses and strengths in English language. Some of us, we assume that because we had A1 in English or B2 in English, we know English. No, you need to assume your strength and weakness. There's some of you that can write but cannot read. Some of you that can read, cannot write. Some of you that can listen but cannot write. Some of you hate writing. That's right. Some of you don't like munching words. Trying to form words or answers in your head is a problem. It's a headache. In fact, it's a challenge. It is why some of us didn't want to study some courses that we would have studied in school, because you don't want to start thinking. But IELTS will have to expose those weaknesses and strengths to us. What I tell my students is, tell yourself the truth, know your weaknesses, know your strengths, focus more on your strength and work on your weaknesses. Also, you need to have much time to study for your IELTS. Don't forget that your IELTS preparation is proportional to your band score at the end of the day. It is how far you prepare that you get to know how much that you worked for when your result is out. And maybe the most important thing is, why do some of you want to even take the IELTS exam? It could even be some of you just want to take it because your friend is taking it. Or maybe you are just thinking that maybe one day you might need it. Know that IELTS expire within 2 years. Okay, for now, expire within 2 years. So you need to be very sure that you have a plan before writing IELTS. Again, I want to advise this: be sure that you have your international passport before you write your IELTS. Very, very important. Very, very important. Be sure you have your international passport before you write your IELTS. There are chances you've seen people who pass IELTS, but at the end of the day, they don't have international passport to even travel. And then at the end of the day, they miss opportunities. So I would say ensure that other things are ready. So your IELTS is just like a completion, not like somebody waiting to complete it. It's supposed to complete some of your package you will need to travel abroad or study abroad, right? So this is basically for when we put people in classroom, and then, but this is not a physical classroom, so I wouldn't want to go deep into this. Okay, so in Edo Point class, IELTS student gets skills they will need to excel in 4 different modules: essential grammar and vocabulary, survival exam tips, tricks and secret. Classes of 20 to 30 people ensure individual attention. So for example, now we have about 17% here. So a typical IELTS class in our office used to be a number of 20 to 30, so that we can have a high level of a peer-to-peer level, a high level of peer-to-peer interaction between tutors and learners. Also, cultural and asset coaching, real life roles, plays, but so we will do a couple of case scenarios. Not in this class, sorry, because we don't have much time. We do all these things in the normal full classes that people enroll for. People always ask me, what kind of book do I need to read? For now, the best book to read is Cambridge. I will tell you why. Because they are like the writers of the exam. They work with your British Council. So if you are smart enough, you less rely on online materials, except you trust it, and you focus more on accredited, recommended books. You have them on the screen. Barron's is very popular. And you have to buy the one with the updated curriculum. So you can't buy old ones for new ones. Yeah. Okay, so let's begin. But before we begin, I've just taken you through the journey of one part. Okay, so this is the first phase. We've actually done an introduction of what IELTS is. I'm going to pause again. I'm going to listen to people that have a couple of questions. I've been talking for the past 15 minutes, and I think in the next 10 minutes, I need to listen to people that have a couple of questions. If you have frequently asked questions, if you have challenges, so as what I've said earlier before, if what I'm telling you contradicts to what you know before, feel free to unmute your microphone. We have less than 10 minutes to share those questions. By 3 o'clock, we'll resume the full class. We'll resume the next session, which is the listening session.
Hello, sir. Hello.
I have to mute my phone. I can hear you.
Okay, thank you for a nice lecture and briefing. So I want to ask, the ITS, before one can undergo the scheme or to write the scheme, what are the prerequisites? What are the things one needed to carry along while writing the IELTS exam or test? So that's the question. Second question is that what is the duration of the ITS when one pass the exam? So how long will it last before one can write another IELTS exam? Thank you, sir.
Thank you for that question. So it'll be one after one. So the first one, start with the last question. The duration in between when you write. Let me not say when you fail. Let me say when someone fails, when will the person write again? So like I said earlier before, IELTS is written monthly, once, maximum twice a month. Now your result comes out roughly a week after you write your exam. So if you write your exam, let's say on the 20th or 25th of June, 7 days after that day, it should come out, sometimes because, it's very fast, sometimes it could even come out less than, but it can't be more than 2 weeks from the one I've come across with. It does depend. If you write it online normally comes immediately you're done. Come like an email to you, but if you write the pen and paper, which is the one that most people always run to because they are scared of the online, it's the same thing. It's just the method of practice or the method of writing the exam. The same question, the same timing, no one is better than the other. It's just the same thing. They both have their advantages and disadvantages. For people that don't have good writing, they can always switch to the online because they make use of the keyboard. And then nobody knows how bad the handwriting is. For people that have good writing speed. So there are always pros and cons, knowing that online works with time. So, normally in normal offline writing, you could write exam that could give you 20 minutes and 10 minutes more to write. But in the online, it's timing. Once you're done, you're done. It's like jump. The moment of time is exhausted. So there are pros and cons to it. Okay, depending on where you think you can do very well. So if you know you want to write online, be practicing now online. You want to write offline, be practicing how to write very well offline. Now, to answer your question, if peradventure you write, if someone write the exam and fails, person can write the next month because the exam comes even before the next time, the next exam date. The exam result comes out before the next exam date. So that's why you can write as many times as possible. But the challenge is it won't be fair on your own part, looking at the financial implication and the psychological, which I always pay attention to more, and the psychological the psychological impact. Because when you write and fail, it sort of demoralizes you, sort of push you away from your goal. So that's why I advise, if you write and you fail, it will be advised you adjust, to wait for at least 2 months to prepare again before writing again, so that you sort of work on that weakness. Because when you fail IELTS, it is a radar pointing to a weakness or weaknesses. For the case you fail more than 2 courses, it is a radar pointing on that this writing is your problem, this reading is your problem. So you have to work on it, but don't put too much attention on it, because tomorrow it could be listening that could be your problem. So rather than writing it the next month because you want to just write, no, you step back, you look at your results, look at where you have failed, and then start working on the weaknesses and improving on your strength. For example, normally by nature, I love to write. And I listen a lot, right? So I read a lot. So speaking might not really necessarily be my strength, right? I don't talk much, except when I'm teaching. So I would have to, if I fail my speaking, for example, I would need to start brushing my speaking skills, but I would also need to maintain my balance on other 3 skills that I have a lot, so that when I write the exam again next time, and do you know the good thing? If you're sincere to yourself, when you finish writing your exam, you know if you will fail or not. You know why? Because you've been studying. You would know. It's not a thing of I did not know. It's not a thing of you are praying that they should help you. They will not help you. It is marked by a standard examiner, so they don't even know you. So you would know. It's like when you actually go for an exam, you know that you didn't do well in this exam, you know. So you're not paying a lecturer to help you. Tomorrow you not say, oh, something happened, oh, you didn't finish, but you passed. No. IELTS is obvious that if you didn't prepare for it, you can't pass it. So you would know that, when I did this listening in the exam, I didn't do well. I know the part that they not able to do well, that part of completing the passage where I could not even know what they were saying. So what does that do for you? You start practicing. Or that writing, I don't know, I think you're a doctor, I can see Dr. something. So you're a doctor, for example, Dr. Kinika. So let's say you are in the medical field and they now ask you a question based on economics. Because, IELTS doesn't care which profession you are. You say you want to write exam, right? You've told us that you've been reading before now. You've told us that you can write the exam, Abi. Because for you to say you want to write the exam, it means that you have capability to write the exam. So whether you study English, mathematics, in literature, biology, when they give you essay questions, it is not biased. If you're lucky, it comes in the field you know. If you're not lucky, it comes in the field you don't know. But the good thing is that you have to be reading very wide. Read music, read news, read a lot of writing columns, written columns, read a lot of newspaper, watch a lot of news, especially during this period. I tell people a lot, try this period, focus your attention on BBC News. Look at the way they explain the impact of COVID-19 on the economy, because these are possible essay questions. When they resume, these are possible essay questions, right? Okay. I think I've answered the first one. The second one. The first one is, so I can't remember of the second one. You said
the criteria.
Okay.
Yes.
So the criteria, there is no criteria. Like, you're not writing. It's not like JAMB when you need to have WAEC, or like when you're writing masters, you need to have undergraduate program, undergraduate degree. So for IELTS, the criteria is you. How good are you to write the exam? So somebody can want to do his BSc in US or UK, does not need to have a WAEC to write IELTS. He can have a student like that last year. He wrote IELTS, he got about 8.5, John, and by what I mean, that was the first time, but he got his A-level. Those are needed for his visa packaging. But IELTS, there is no prerequisite. It is a prerequisite on its own. It is a part of your packaging when you are traveling abroad. So you don't need anything to write it. You just only need to study and prepare for it before you can write it. You get? So somebody can be in SS2 and write it, but with the person using within 2 years, I know that when we are in school, in secondary school, some of my friends that have smarter elder ones or smarter parents who were able to pay for their TOEFL because the parent wanted them not to study in Nigeria. As soon as they were in SS1 or 2, they wrote TOEFL, and by the time we were writing our WAEC, they already gotten admission to study in US. So while we were writing JAMB, people are preparing to travel to abroad. They were already doing their visa consulting and the rest. So they are preparing to travel abroad. So when they were in SS1 writing, we thought they were just trying to rush. But we got to know in our SS3 when after WAEC, after 2 or 3 months, your friend is no longer in the country again. He's now studying for his BSc program in US. That was because they were smart enough to write TOEFL. Because these things are easily written when you are a student because your brain is sharp. Okay, so when you've gone through a lot of work, 9 to 5, you finish school, you've learned book for a long time, you require a bit of calibration. That is why you're having this class. That's why you need to have a tutor, you need to have a guide, or you need to practice a lot, so that it kind of like recalibrates you to make it to become ready to write the exam without having to face any itches and glitches. I think I've answered your question, Dr. Ginika, right?
All right, sir. Yes, sir.
So
okay. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome. Do anybody have any question before I move to the main class?
Sir, I still have a question. No? Hello, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Can you hear me? Hello? Hello? Oh, we lost him. Okay, he said he has question. I don't know. I think he's not online again. Okay, who again have question?
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for your background information on IELTS.
Okay.
Please give us an insight of what we are expecting.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate that.
Okay, no problem.
My question goes thus.
Okay.
How prepared can someone be to know that you can pass this exam? How prepared can someone be?
$1 million question. You see, it's like it's like telling someone how prepared are you to know that you're going to enter heaven when you die. It's a factor of how the person on earth has lived his life, right? So if you live a well, holy life, like you live a life of a Christian or a Muslim, of which any of you are, you know that when you die, you go to heaven, you go to the afterlife, right? So the only way I can answer that question sincerely and pragmatically is that the level of your preparation. I know it still sounds cumbersome because the next thing you ask me is that how much are you prepared? So that's the next thing you're going to ask now. How much do one know is well prepared? So the level of preparation simply means that you've been doing a couple of tests and mocks. That's why I said there will be a time where the lecturer will just teach you normal class. And I'm sure you are like one of our new students. From your voice sounds familiar also. So we've not really started our class, but there will be a time where you would start a normal class. Now, after starting a normal class, that 1 month, sometimes it might not even be up to 1 month. Depending on how fast that person is. You know, we've seen people who've trained for 3 months because they are slow to learning. People are different. They are different learning speed. So I can't just, that's why I always prefer the one-on-one class, because I can't just say, okay, you know what? I know you went to school. I know you are working. I know you are doing this. I know you are doing that. But I didn't know how you were able to get all of this job, all of this, how you were able to pass a certificate. And so me assuming for you that you can just write the exam and pass, it's a false way of advising you, right? So for me, the surest way or the seamlessly truthful way to tell you that, Mrs. Omotayo, you can write this exam is to tell you to prepare. Now, prepare means that on your own, you are reading, even though you have a tutor. Because the truth is, when you rely so much on a tutor, don't forget that the tutor too is a human being, not a robot. He doesn't know your typical challenges. He doesn't know everything about you. Again, your tutor might not know your grade limit. Maybe when he's teaching you, you act as if everything is fine. And within you, you have this feeling that you are not still at your best. So you need to personalize your own self first and say, okay, you know what? I want to practice at least 2 hours a day, in addition to what this guy will teach me twice a week or 3 times a week. And in fact, it gives you a basis of interaction or interactive learning between you and your tutor. Because you see, let me tell you, I used to have this student in my class, a female. You know, she prepares a lot. I think I've told that story in my last MasterClass. She comes to the office center maybe an hour before the session. She's always prepared. In fact, she had to resign from her banking job because it wasn't going to work. When she told me she was I said, it's not going to work. It's that you take a leave. As soon as she got her visa and everything, she didn't bother returning again. She just traveled abroad because everything was set. Now, if she was a banker, it would have been easy for her to be doing 9 to 5 after going through the traffic and then coming back to come and learn. It would be possible. She doesn't even have time to study. So she had to just take at least 1 month. I guess so. And what she does is that an hour before my class, she comes to the class, she reads, and when I'm teaching, she has boundless questions to answer. I always tell my students, you have questions to answer because you are studying. So you can see that when you are answering questions, somebody is answering your question, is clearing your doubts, is asking your challenges, is solving your challenges, is solving your problems, you would know from analysis that this is exactly, because sometimes you might on your own take up mock exams online. And you see that when you started taking this mock exam, you were getting 2 over 10, 10 over 50. But now you're getting 20. Sometimes you drop to 5. Sometimes you come to 15. Sometimes you drop to 10. Sometimes you drop to 30. But there will be some times when you'll be maintaining, you know, the way they are, you know, in COVID-19, they call it flattening of the curve. The point where, you know, you get to a point where you can't come below the average. You are just on that curve where you can't come to 10, you can't come to 30. You are scoring 35 over 40, 35 over 40, 36 over 40, sometimes 40, 40, sometimes 32 over 40. So that point, you know that if you are getting B, 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 A, B, B, when you write IELTS, you can't come to C. If you come to C, something went wrong. Either you are not prepared or maybe you didn't deeply prepare for yourself. But you are far, far better than somebody that didn't practice at all. You just listen to a master class, you don't attend the program, you not study, you just look at, this is just English now. It's just English. Let me just go and learn English. It's just English, I'll be English language. Everybody can speak English now. Let me just go and do it. And the person go and do it. And the person gets 0 or 2. The person will say, oh, these people, they are very, very fraudulent. They want people to fail. No. People who give the exam are not people that mark the exam. It's a standard exam. And mind you, not only one marker marks the exam. They have different sort of people that marks the exam. So it's just like in university, if a junior staff finish marking, it gives to a senior staff to oversee what the person has marked. So it is not designed to fail people. People fail themselves because they always assume. That's the first point of failure. When you assume it is English, that is the problem with most people. I've always made them. That's why most people don't enroll for classes. Then it's just English now. Maybe it's not English. I can read and write English now. It is far, 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 far from the normal English you did in your O level. Okay? I think I've answered the question, Mrs. Omotayo.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Good. We have 18 people. I think we are progressing. So where we are now, we are in listening section. Okay? Now, what do you know about the listening section? Now, you will listen to 4 different recordings and answer 40 questions. This test takes approximately 30 minutes. I'm going to give you some tricks to listening because you see, you know, I told you before that people just fail because they don't have information. Somebody say, my people perish because they lack knowledge in the Bible, right? So sometimes people fail because they don't have information. And especially in the listening, which I'm going to share with you shortly, you will only hear the audio once. I'm going to play the audio when we're doing our case study. Note this, there are 4 different recordings. Each of the recordings have 10 questions to answer. These tests take approximately 30 minutes. Okay? Now, you will also hear the audio once. The last MasterClass I did, I had to play the audio more than 3 times. It was a preparatory class, so just imagine. I had to, in fact, it was even almost 4 times because some people say they could not hear. In fact, they were not hearing what they were saying. So you can see why practice needs to come in. For you to get used to the British accent, talking from the microphone, from the audio, you must have conditioned your ear to understand their accent. That's why I said you should focus on listening to British accent. The fastest way to listen to British accent is basically BBC News. That's the fastest way. That's the easiest way to listen to it. Or when you go online, you start playing British accent videos. Or there are videos online that can prepare you. The reason why you are doing this is because so that at least when the listening session is on, you can be able to answer them because the audio is programmed to play once. After that, it goes to the next session. A variety of voices and native speakers' accents are also used. Sometimes there could be a conversation between a British woman and an Indian man. So don't confuse yourself that it was always the British. Sometimes they also use non-native speakers and native speakers. You will hear the conversation and monologues. What's a monologue? Some of you know what a monologue is, right? When somebody is just talking, one speaker. We have dialogue, 2 people talking, okay? We have monologue, right? Now, the topic ranging from everyday social to academic issues. See why I said pay attention to the latest news because that is where they get their essay question from or their listening session from. They use what happens to you every day. So they relate it to your life every day so that you can be able to at least answer. It's not a case of them telling you chemistry and biology. You get? Okay? So and your everyday life experience with what you are learning. You will hear the conversation and monologue with topic ranging from everyday social and academic. So whether you are in academic world or in the social world or in general world, this will be used as a case of conversation. Note that there are different kinds of questions to answer in the IELTS test. There is usually what we call multiple choice, which is what some of you know. Multiple choice is when you have multiple objectives that complete a particular sentence. There's usually called form completion. This one is the one that is a bit difficult because when you don't understand what they are saying, you don't even know how to complete that sentence because you need to use the exact word that's been said or has been pronounced by the speaker. We also have note completion, we have summary completion, we have sentence completion, we have short answers question. Note that candidates for IELTS academic and general both do the same listening test. Okay, what are the listening tips? Some of you want to ask me. So people love tips, people like shortcuts. There's no shortcut to life, there's just only tips and tricks. Read the instructions and questions carefully before you listen. I repeat, read the instructions and questions carefully before you listen. Try to get an idea of the situation. I call it situational analysis. Somebody's talking in the background. Please, can you mute? We're in class. Okay, I tried to mute you. Okay. Let me recap because I know some of us didn't get that. Listening tips. The first one, read the instructions and questions carefully before you listen. Try to get an idea of the situation of what you have listened to or of what you have read. Now, it is called situational analysis. Who are the speakers? Where are they? why are they speaking? These are the things you'll be asking yourself when you are listening. Remember, you will hear this audio once. You will need to read and listen at the same time. Can I recap that? You will hear the audio once. You will need to read, write, and listen all at the same time. Don't forget that you look for signpost words. I'm going to show you what the signpost words is, such as however, although, finally. This will help you to anticipate what the speaker is trying to say. Am I confusing anybody here? Some of you will be wondering, how come this thing is this guy's head? See, it's a thing of practice. Okay, when you practice these things, sometimes you can even form your notes yourself. You know. So I quickly flip to the chat session before I go into a deeper tips. Somebody is saying, I can hear you. Okay, welcome to class. Okay, somebody say, I have a question. Do I need IELTS to study in Germany or Netherlands since Dutch is an official language? No, I don't think, but it depends. Depends on the school, but I don't think you need. There's I think for some school, I'm not a visa consultant, but I know that for some schools abroad, in some non-English speaking countries, you will need to at least study their language for either 6 months or 1 year. For I know in Korea, if your master's is a year, you use your first 6 months or 1 year to do Korean language, you know, so that you can be able to understand IELTS. Some schools in Germany can even teach in English. So you need to know the kind of university. So before you choose a university in Germany, you need to know what is their method of teaching. Some schools in Poland teach it in English. So they will tell you that you don't need to write any form of proficiency language. All you need is just to apply for admission. They grant you the scholarship or they grant you the admission. You get your visa and then you can now start your. Also note again that most schools are not taking people now from abroad. Now most schools are going online. I hope you guys know that. I'm going to explain that after the class. So if you get admission to study abroad this year, you probably might not be traveling out. You might be pushed into the online category, but that's not why we are here, okay? But just to say that you might not need to study or write the IELTS proficiency test to study in Germany, except the school specifies in their requirement. Okay. Now let's go common mistakes. Common mistakes. So I just fit to share this out. You know, initially I explained that listening has 4 sections. Before each section, you will hear some instructions and there will be some time to look at the questions. The recording will play when you need to listen to and to write down your answers. So at the end of the listening, you must write the answers in your answer sheet. The answer sheet, I hope you guys know that. I will share the answer sheet template with you. So after the class then, this is where people make a lot of mistakes. When they choose to copy their answers during the time they are given before each section begins. I saw this in my last class, even in my, not MasterClass, in the normal physical class. It's a very big mistake because that time is for you to focus while the reading of the question, which is the new one, is about to begin. This is where you try to know what is coming. And let me explain this. When you are giving your listening exercises, you've seen the question. You are not allowed to write when you are listening. You are allowed to look at the questions and then try to envisage that when this thing is being played, what are you expecting? This is not the time for copying answers because you'll be given 10 minutes to copy all your answers. And that is why after when this 10 minutes is given to copy the answers, people have wasted times because they have copied the answer before the 10 minutes was given to them. So they often distract themselves. And therefore, this will definitely affect your scores. I repeat, when you are doing the listening, before the listening of the audio begins, take some few minutes to understand where, why, who is talking, what are they talking, why are they saying what they are saying, to whom is the communication going to, what is the essence of the communication. Now, more importantly, when the audio starts, you are trying to link with your eye, you're trying to link your answers to the question as the voice or the audio is playing. It is not the time to write your answers, because if you write your answers, you'll be confused. Don't forget that you are not listening to an accent you are conversant with. You are listening to a sort of strange accent. So you need to pour your heart. That's why they will give you an headset. Wear an headset, okay? Like an earphone, wear it. So it's not like in the class they play and not, you wear an headset. So it's a personalized form of test. So you'll be able to listen. But the challenge is that the audio will be played once. The first section will be a conversation between two people about a general topic. Second section will be a monologue. One person is talking about a general topic. The third section will be a conversation of two people about an academic topic. The fourth section will be a monologue about an academic topic. Listening. In almost all academic centers, listening is done first. I don't know why, but I think it is best done first due to its peculiarities. Okay. So that is one of the reasons why it is being done first. So I'm going to do a case study and expect some of us to answer the question if we can, right? But before then, let us go back to certain tips. Listening takes 40 minutes, 30 minutes of listening, and 10 minutes to transfer your answers to your question. Okay, so let's see a case study. Are we all set for case study? Okay. So I'm going to share a screen. I just have to pop out this. Let me share another screen. Please permit me to share another screen. I want us to have our earphones in our ears, and nobody should please unmute their phone, because listening session distraction can cause you not to know what you're doing, right? Okay, so I'm going to share a screen. Okay, so can you see the screen? IELTS listening part 2. Can you see that?
No.
Oh, wow.
No, not yet.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I can see it.
Okay, good. So I'm going to play a session. The count of 3, I'm going to play it, and then I advise that we pay attention to it, right? Okay. If you can't hear me, please, if you can't hear the audio talking, please let me know on time. Okay? 1, 2, 3.
Hello?
Hello, I can't hear.
You can't hear?
Yeah.
I can hear too.
Okay, good. Okay, I know why I can hear. I'm using my headphone. Okay, I know why I can. I'm using my. So that's why I asked you guys. Let me know if you can hear or not. Okay, sorry for that. I'm going to unplug my headphone so for you guys to hear. Okay.
Okay.
Can you guys hear now?
No.
No.
Why are you guys hearing before I put my headphone? You can't still hear?
Oh, we couldn't hear. Still the same thing.
Still the same.
Okay, okay, I'm coming. I don't know why it's happening like so. I'm coming. So I'm coming. Let me try to fix it. Okay, coming. So I'm going to play. Somebody noise. There's a noise at the background. Somebody's phone is making a noise. Okay, are we set? Oh. Are we set?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to use another media player to play. You guys will hear now. Definitely, you guys will hear now. I'm using another media to play. This one is a bit louder. So I'm going to share the screen now, and then I will play this. 1, 2, go.
Unit 5, page 62. Listening. IELTS practice. Questions 1 to 5. You will hear a telephone conversation about a job vacancy. You should answer the questions as you listen because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5.
Hello, Top Job Employment Agency. Ellen Sykes speaking. How can I help you?
Good morning. My name's Steve Collins and I'm calling about the call centre job advertised in today's paper.
For an operative handling credit card inquiries?
Yes, that's right. The wages and working conditions are all in the ad. So what I'd like to know now is what the work actually consists of. I should explain that I'm a student looking for a summer job, not long-term employment.
That's okay. The people at Intercard say they've always found students to be honest, which of course is essential in this line of work. And they have the basic IT skills needed there. Apparently, there have been a few who didn't find it easy to get there on time in the morning, but in most cases, their punctuality is as good as anybody else's. Anyway, about the work. And I know a bit about this, because as it happens, I've worked there myself.
Really?
Yes, for about a year. You'd find that most callers would be people wanting to check the balance on their cards, query payments made, and so on.
And for those who've had their cards stolen?
No, they ring another number for that, an emergency line. People also call that number if they lose their cards.
And what are most callers like? I mean, what kind of people are they?
All sorts, really. All ages, every kind of background. Though one definite trend is the change in the number of women. Nowadays, they make up around 55% of the total, whereas years ago, there used to be a majority of men calling. At one time, I heard, as many as 3/4 of all credit cards were actually held by men, but that must have been long before I was there.
It's certainly different now. So to do this job, what sort of experience do I need?
None, really. Have you got a credit card yourself?
Yes, I have.
Then you probably know quite a bit about them already. And as a student, you're obviously intelligent, which of course you need to be for the job. So after a day or so working with an experienced operative, I'm sure you'll have picked up enough to deal with routine inquiries, which of course most of them are.
But there are bound to be questions I can't deal with, at least at first. What happens then?
In that case, you can ask a supervisor. They're very helpful to new staff.
I think I like the sound of this. What do I do next?
Okay. Did you guys hear the audio?
Yes, sir.
Did you all?
Yes, sir.
You heard the audio, right?
Yes, sir.
Can anyone interpret what he or she learned from the audio before trying to answer the question? Hello? 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 Hello?
We are with you.
Yeah, I was asking, what did we understand from the audio? I'm not saying tell me the answer. What did we, did you hear anything like what they were saying? Were you familiar with the kind of thing they were saying?
To me, I heard a little of what they were saying.
Okay, so you didn't struggle, or you struggled with what they were saying?
Actually struggled.
Struggled. Okay, that's
yes,
because is this your first time of listening to IELTS audio?
Yes, this is my first time.
So it's normal. I would be amazed if you had told me that you didn't struggle to understand what they were saying. So you now understand why you need to actually practice by listening and listening to a lot of the audios, right? It comes in audios, not in pictures like that. You get that picture you saw there is a question paper, right? This is like
the question
exactly
asking the man called to do or something like that.
Yeah. So basically, sometimes it comes in a pictorial form like this. Sometimes it comes in a not pictorial, like what we're about to do that people didn't get to hear. I don't know why, maybe because the volume. It's a typical IELTS exam. You don't see anything like pictorial, like picture, right? It comes, you just click the audio, it plays, and then you fill in the spaces, right? In this case, you are seeing pictures already. The next one you're going to listen to is telling you more of like a roadmap of a particular location, a riverside business park. So did anyone write any answer?
Hello?
Was anyone that wrote down any answer?
Excuse me.
Somebody's asking a question.
Is it possible for us to see the questions?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Can you hear me, please?
I can hear you.
Okay, I was about to ask the same question she asked now. Are you going to be seeing the questions while you're listening to the conversation?
So basically, let me show you this so that you understand what I'm trying to say. I think that was why I removed it. Let me show you this so you understand clearly where I'm going to. So something like this is a typical IELTS exam. Sorry, I'm coming. I'm coming. That's not the section. Okay. I don't know why this section is. Okay, I'm coming. So this listening part one, I want to show you listening part one. Good. So something like this. Have you seen it?
No.
You should see it now. You see it. So something like this is what you will see on the screen. You will see your questions and your audio. That is why I said earlier, you need to read your questions first to give you an understanding of what your audio will look like. Some of you will just quickly click the audio and start waiting for the answer. That is the first mistake. If you have gone through this question, okay, and then you now click your audio, you are going to be paying attention to what they want you to say. Like this particular question now is about filling the blank spaces. Something is telling me now that 2 hours from somewhere, I need to know where the 2 hours is from. Something is telling me here now that there's a course content. Is it going to be writing and reading or writing and listening? I don't know. Name of the course. So I should be looking for what's the name of the course in the passage I will listen to. I should be looking at the length of that course, the cost of that course. I should be looking at where they are talking about course content, what I will learn in day 1, day 2, day 3. Do you get the point? And I should know the location or the next course date. More importantly, I should know the name of the caller and his address and his email. Once I have these things in my head, those are what I call prompts. Before, I told that in listening, you have to look at what you are listening, why you are listening, where you are. This thing comes as a prompt question when you are reading the questions. So as soon as you play the audio, you are on your mark, get set, go. So you are filling the questions in your head. You are filling the answers in your head. But you are not allowed to write your answers. Once you start writing your answers in all of these things, you get confused. Because there are some times where the audio does not go in synchrony or in sequence as the question comes. So it's for you to listen first to fill in your spaces. Then you'll be given 10 minutes to fill in your answers. Do you understand? Do you understand? In some cases, let me share the last screen. In some cases, you have something like this. It's not different. This part is where you click the audio, right? This earphone you see here, once you click the audio, this is where now plays. So this is multiple choice. You know, I told us something. I say the questions divided into some sections. There are some sections that are completing the spaces. Some are multi-choice. Some are not completion. I said it earlier before that the listening section divided into different sections. This is a section of multiple choice. So you are seeing options. You are seeing your answers. It's left for you to be able to correlate what Steve phones the agency to find about relates to in any of the options in the passage. But in that one I showed you before now, it is called sentence or note completion or filling the gap. So you are supposed to fill in the gap, your answer by yourself without seeing the option, because there'll be no option based on what you have heard. So there are different sections. A section is multiple choice. Last section is filling the gap. Last section is note completion, and so on and so forth like that. That was why I explained all the framework of listening in the beginning. Did you get? Are we still confused? Like I said,
I understand now.
Like I said, you will not be able to grab full information. This masterclass is to open your understanding, take you through the journey. You may not be able to understand it now. You need to practice, you need to be taught, you need to understand it, you need to frequent yourself with it. You know how the pattern works. It's like pattern. You want to sew a cloth, you already draw a framework, right? I'm not a tailor or a fashion designer, but I know that before you start swinging the machine or start using the machine, you must have a diagram in your head. You must have a pattern in your head. If you start sewing without a pattern, you make mistakes. So don't put the cart before the horse, right? So the horse must come before the cart. So that point where you have been practicing, you have been seeing different strings or different types of questions, you will not be able to know that in my section 1, question 1 to 5 or 1 to 10 is multiple choice. Question 10 to 20 is note completion. Question 10 to 30 is, don't forget, you're going to do 40 of these. So you have 4 sections. One section, what I was getting people to ask me is that, were you listening to a monologue or to a dialogue or to a conversation?
A dialogue.
That's a dialogue. That you have 2 people, there's a conversational call. 2 people are making call. There will be a time when one person will just be saying something. That's a monologue. So one person is just talking. Okay? So that is all this one is all about. So I'm going to play the next session. I think question 6 to 10. Then we can now look for the answers. And then we can now move for the next study.
Now listen and answer questions 6 to 10. Can you get over there?
First, it's not my.
Definitely, yes. Whereabouts? At the park. Do you know it? Yes, I've been there once. How do you usually travel? By bus. Right. So you take either the 136 or 137 to the bus station, and when you come out of there, you turn right. Along Orchard Road, that is. The road to the railway station? Yes, that's right. You go past the petrol station next to the car dealers, then carry on down the road. Do I take the first left at the main car park? Well, you could do that and walk up Newfield Avenue alongside the shopping centre, but it's a long way round. I'd suggest continuing along Orchard Road with the water company and then the insurance offices on your right. They used to be local government offices, by the way. Yes, I remember those. And you keep going until you reach the advertising agency. Now, facing that is a small road called Cherry Lane. There's a newspaper office on the corner, and opposite that is a big hotel, so you can't miss it. And how far down that road is it? Well, they aren't actually in Cherry Lane.
You walk as far as the next junction and turn right.
Can you guys understand what you are saying? Hello?
The audio was not clear enough.
It wasn't clear enough?
Yes, it wasn't loud enough at all. We couldn't really pick what.
Oh, was it because I moved?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see if I can replay it.
And there were a series of breaks.
Let me see if I can play it again, please.
And there were distractions. It seems some people's microphone are still on.
Page 63. Listening. IELTS practice. Now listen and answer questions 6 to 10.
Can you get over there for 9:45 on Monday morning for an interview?
Definitely, yes. Whereabouts are they?
In Riverside Business Park. Do you know it?
Yes, I've been there once.
How do you usually travel?
By bus.
Right. So you take either the 136 or 137 to the bus station, and when you come out of there, you turn right.
Along Orchard Road, that is. The road from the railway station?
Yes, that's right. You go past the petrol station next to the car dealers, then carry on down the road.
Don't take the first step.
There are a lot of distractions coming up.
You could do that.
Yes, please. They should just switch off their
alongside the
microphone or
shopping
something.
centre, but it's a long way round. I'd suggest continuing along Orchard Road with the water company and then the insurance offices on your right. They used to be local government offices, by the way.
Yes, I remember those.
And you keep going until you reach the advertising agency. Now, facing that is a small road called Cherry Lane. There's a newspaper office on the corner, and opposite that is a big hotel, so you can't miss it.
And how far down that road is it?
Well, they aren't actually in Cherry Lane. You walk as far as the next junction and turn right into Almond Drive at the mail centre. Intercard is in the third building on the right between the airline offices and the shipping company.
Fine. I'll be there on Monday. Thanks very much. Bye.
Good luck. Bye.
Okay. Okay, guys. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah.
How was it? Was it audible this time around?
It was audible, but there was a lot of distractions.
From my end?
I don't know, but I was hearing some
I think
noise.
I had to mute some phones. Some people voices. I had to mute phone during the session. I always advise that there should be background noise.
Hello, Obed. I think you were the one. Your mic was on. I said.
I'm sorry about that.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. But that's why I had to mute everybody. I like muting everybody, but some of you will still unmute yourself, maybe knowingly or unknowingly, but it's fine. It's fine. It's allowed, allowed. So, but just for other people to have, the chance to, listen to the case study, it's good that we actually mute our phones. You are free to unmute your phones when you want to ask questions. But it's fine, no problem. Apology accepted. But let's just move to the answers. I'm sure some of you already have your answers. If you don't have, I have my answers. I'm going to assist you this time around because I know that some of you have not done it before. So are we set? Or should I play it again? Some of you. So you see what I'm saying? You only play it once, right?
Please play it again. Please.
So somebody is laughing. I should
play it again. Please.
You play it again. Okay. I'm going to play all of them from the beginning again.
But before you play it, please unmute everyone.
I do that all the time. I've muted everybody again. Look at now. I've muted everybody again. You can see it on my screen. I've moved everybody again. If you can see my options, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, but what can you see on your screen? Just the video. Okay. Probably people can only see just the video. You can't see what I'm doing. So I've moved everybody again. So if you unmute yourself, I guess that's just it. So I'm going to play it again for the last time. I'm playing from section 1, from question 1 to 5. I will set. Okay.
Page 62. Listening. IELTS practice. Questions 1 to 5. You will hear a telephone conversation about a job vacancy. You should answer the questions as you listen because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5.
Hello, Top Job Employment Agency. Ellen Sykes speaking. How can I help you?
Good morning. My name's Steve Collins and I'm calling about the call centre job advertised in today's paper.
For an operative handling credit card inquiries?
Yes, that's right. The wages and working conditions are all in the ad. So what I'd like to know now is what the work actually consists of. I should explain that I'm a student looking for a summer job, not long-term employment.
That's okay. The people at Intercard say they've always found students to be honest, which of course is essential in this line of work. And they have the basic IT skills needed there. Apparently, there have been a few who didn't find it easy to get there on time in the morning, but in most cases, their punctuality is as good as anybody else's. Anyway, about the work. And I know a bit about this because, as it happens, I've worked there myself.
Really?
Yes, for about a year. You'd find that most callers would be people wanting to check the balance on their cards, query payments made, and so on.
And from those who've had their cards stolen?
No, they ring another number for that, an emergency line. People also call that number if they lose their cards.
And what are most callers like? I mean, what kind of people are they?
All sorts, really. All ages, every kind of background. Though one definite trend is the change in the number of women. Nowadays, they make up around 55% of the total, whereas years ago, there used to be a majority of men calling. At one time, I heard, as many as 3/4 of all credit cards were actually held by men, but that must have been long before I was there.
It's certainly different now. So to do this job, what sort of experience do I need?
None, really. Have you got a credit card yourself?
Yes, I have.
Then you probably know quite a bit about them already. And as a student, you're obviously intelligent, which of course you need to be for the job. So after a day or so working with an experienced operative, I'm sure you'll have picked up enough to deal with routine inquiries, which of course most of them are.
But there are bound to be questions I can't deal with, at least at first. What happens then?
In that case, you can ask a supervisor. They're very helpful to new staff.
I think I like the sound of this. What do I do next?
Okay. Okay, are we set?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so for what we've listened, what do you think is our number one answer? And you have to tell me why your number one answer is correct. Is the answer. Steve phones the agency to find out about what?
The nature of job advertised.
Good. That's the answer. That was the answer. That's the answer. He was actually asking for a summer job, not a long-term employment. He says the wages are in the advertisement, so it is not C, right? Okay, so it's B. That's a good one, Samatayo. Helen says the problem with some students is that they
arrive late for work.
Good. Arrive late. Who's that? Toluwashe, right? Am I correct?
It's Favor.
Favor. Okay, Favor. Well done, Favor. Helen says that the problem with some students is that they arrive late for work. 3, Steve would mainly take calls from customers.
It's coming.
Who have lost their credit cards?
Who have lost their credit card? No.
Who wants information about their credit card
Good,
account?
good. They were asking about the balance of their credit card. That's good. That's good. Keep it up. That's good. Okay, let's come to the pie chart. What chart shows the proportion of female to male callers?
55%.
C. 55 to 45.
Good. 55 to 45%. 55 for look at the color of female. There is a legend there.
Come now.
There is a legend there. There is a box here that tells you what the female is, which is this. Female was 55 and male is 45. It's there. I read it. Okay, that means we're progressing. I like that. I like the combined effort. Number 5, Ellen says that call center operative should be what?
C.
I hope you're not guessing.
No.
Ellen told Steve that at least a call center should be intelligent. That's all you need to be a call center operative. Is there? I listened to that. So it's good that you don't guess. But I like the teamwork. So let's play 6 to 10. So how did we do in the 1 to 5? How is it a progress for some of us, or is it something that we need to work more on again? Okay, so let's deploy another tactics for question 6 to 10. So 6 to 10 is a map, so you need to pay attention. It's very, very tactical. Somebody is on mute. See, can you unmute? Somebody television is on there. Okay, so now I've moved everybody again. So now this time around, you need to pay attention to the map. It's a map. It's not like a word. It's a map. So your option are the answers A to H. So it starts from the bus station. So listen very meticulously, right? Okay, I'm going to play it in a few seconds.
Sorry, sir. Before you start, please, can you help us increase the volume of the recording? I could hardly see.
Can you get over there for 9:45 on Monday morning for an interview? Yes. Whereabouts are they? In Riverside Business Park.
Get that.
Join. How do you usually travel? Right. So you take either the 136 or 137 bus station, and when you come out of there, you turn right.
Orchard Road, that is. The road from the railway station?
Yes, that's right. You go past the petrol station next to the car dealers, then carry on down the road.
Do I take the first left at the main car park?
Well, you could do that and walk up Newfield Avenue alongside the shopping centre, but it's a long way round. I'd suggest continuing along Orchard Road with the water company and then the insurance offices on your right.
Which one is this one?
The local government offices, by the way.
Yes, I remember those.
And you keep going until you reach the advertising agency. Now, facing that is a small road called Cherry Lane. There's a newspaper office on the corner, and opposite that is a big hotel, so you can't miss it.
And how far down that road is it?
Well, they aren't actually in Cherry Lane. You walk as far as the next junction and turn right into Almond Drive at the mail centre. Intercard is in the third building on the right between the airline offices and the shipping company.
Fine. I'll be there on Monday. Thanks very much. Bye.
Good luck. Bye.
Okay. Are we set? Okay, so can we answer our question? The routes we are coming from, we're starting from the petrol station, right? Right? Okay. Nobody's, oh, sorry, I stopped you. What happened? Oh, sorry. Can you hear me? Oh.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. So where are we? So we're starting from the bus station, right? So when you, so the guy called, don't forget that the guy called last week for interview. I'm just giving a story from my head. That guy that called for interview, his name is Steve. They have told him everything he needs to know. So he wants to come for the interview. And now here he is. He started from Riverside Park, right? And now he was told to take a bus from the bus station. That when he goes down, there's a road close to that bus station. What's the road called? Number 6. If you are listening. Wow, nobody's talking. Nobody's talking. What happened? Okay, number 6 is petrol station, right? Okay.
Okay, is it the answers that are inside this A to H?
Yes, exactly. Right. So number 6 is D, but you're going to write it in full. Petrol station on your answer sheet, right? So it was told that the route was established in such a way that when you come out of there, the bus station, you turn right and go to along the orchard is next to here, the car dealers. After the car dealers, it was has to move down to 8. What is 8? Your 8 is your shopping